Now, if you're in the market looking for a robot vacuum, something that's going to be able to not just keep your carpet clean, your hardwood, and also your tile clean, that is also going to be able to get to the edges, the corners of your floor, those hard to get areas that you have a difficult time sweeping and pulling out all the dust that could be there. Well, you're going to want to watch this video because today we're taking a look at the ECOVAC X9 Pro, and it's a robot that covers all those bases and many more. Let's get right to it. Now, the X9 Pro is a powerful vacuum, but it's also a very easy to use one. It has 16,600 PAs of suction power. That translates to, as it's vacuuming your floor, you're not going to have anything caught in the actual grooves of your tile, and it's going to get deep into your carpet. It's a full vacuuming system that not only is able to provide consistent power, but also has this blast vacuum system that kind of exerts additional strength when it needs to get some hard to reach areas. It has this rolling mop system that I've seen more in the ECOVAC line, that not only is it rotating as it cleans, but it rotates, and as it's rotating, the actual mop head is being cleaned at the same time. So traditional mop vacuums, basically what they do is as they're rotating, they pick up your debris. They go back to the docking station to actually clean the actual rotating mop head, and then they come out again. So in the meantime, as you're getting your floors clean, you're not really working with a clean mop. So this solution solves for that. It's basically, as it's rotating, it's actually cleaning the mop head. So you're always getting the cleanest head as it is cleaning your floors. And that is going to make a big difference in how efficient it cleans and also how fast it cleans, because it doesn't have to go back to the actual dock to clean itself. Now, this robot also does a lot of self-maintenance. We're talking about 167 Fahrenheit hot water mop washing, and then it also has 145 hot air drying. That means that your extra roller, the life of the roller is going to be longer. It's not going to smell because of how it's drying. And again, it's going to give you that best performance when cleaning your floors. Now, this has lifting capabilities as well. So as you're going over, let's say, the separator between one side of your floor and another, like if you're going from wood to tile, it handles that without a problem. It has this 3D edge sensor technology and 3D structural light technology, as well as the 3D avoidance technology. All those three things combined, giving it the ability to see really well no matter in what lighting situation you're dealing with. Literally, this thing can see at night, and it just navigates your home really, really well. Now, we have 4 Pomeranians, 3 that are with us full-time, and 1 that comes to visit, which means that we get a lot of dog hair. Having a brush that's zero tangle is really important to us. What that basically means is as it's cleaning the floor and picking up the dog hair, it doesn't get tangled in the roller that's inside the brush that's picking up all of the debris. And that means that I don't have to take it apart, take some scissors, or take a knife to cut off the dog hair that could be tied into the roller. You don't have that problem with the solution. It also has the ability to be able to invoke it via a AI command, so it's voice activated. And then also it has video manager and voice control capabilities. So in addition to being connected to, like, let's say your Alexa, your think about your Google, you'll be able to do that here as well. But the cool thing is having all the convenience to actually speak out the command. We rarely use our phones when it comes to controlling our robots. Typically, I just say, the activation command, and then I tell it the area or zone that I'd like to clean, which tends to be our walkway, our main walkway, and the robot goes. Hands-free, super easy to use, and it's just very convenient.
Now, the X9 Pro is very compact, and I really like the design language, or at least the updates that they've made over the overall look when it comes to the vacuum mop combo with the actual station itself that it comes into. So let's start from the very top and take a look at some of the things that are going on here. First of all, this is the dirty water container, right? And it's pretty compact, has a flip switch in it. And then you have your clean water container. I've emptied that out already a couple times. And here's your clean water container, right? In the back, it does have the actual ports that connect to the back of the actual station itself. And it's very difficult for you to mix them up. So you'll never be able to put the one that goes to the left and the right side and the right side and the left side because of the ports itself and also the way the design is right here. So you can see how this is cut out. Now one major improvement with the ECOVAC line is the fact that the actual detergent container is non-proprietary. You know, the container itself is proprietary, but the actual liquid that you put in here is refillable, and you could use whatever liquid you want as a cleaning solution. I love that that's the case, and that this basically slides in here and it self-doses. You do have your dust bag here that's easily something that you can have access to and you can replace. Pretty straightforward. So the first thing that you're going to see with the robot is that you do have a roller-based system, and this system is something that we've seen with some of the other newer ECOVAC robots. What I like about this is that you don't really come back as often when it comes to cleaning the actual roller, because the roller is actually being cleaned in real time. So when you deposit dirty liquid, it's not that you're getting dirty liquid from this roller being cleaned, but you're actually getting it because it's actually picking up debris and it's cleaning itself as it goes along, which is going to give you cleaner floors. You have a non-tangle brush here. I'm going to open this up for a second so you can see this. Basically, this is not going to get tangled. Typically, when you're working with dogs, like we do, we have 4 of them, what ends up happening is you get dog hair tied on one of the sides, and then that kind of gums things up, and you're not able to continue to use the robot. So having something like this where this is self-cleaning or it doesn't get caught up is really important. Now, you do have 2 really heavy-duty rollers here, or wheels. And you can notice the type of traction it has. You have the front one. You actually have this arm also that extends out. You notice how the arm is right here. It kind of comes out to be able to get into those corners and clean things. The same thing happens with this roller. This roller actually moves. You notice that there's some movement here to actually get to the corners really nicely. So overall, the overall design here is really good. Now, when you remove this cover, there's a couple things going on here. You do have the ability here to turn this on and off, and you have the manual dust tray removal. You would want to have access to this in the event that something, I've seen this happen, like where there's a screw or something that just rattles and it stays in here because there's not enough suction to pull it out as a deposit is inside of the dustbin that's inside of the station. So this is great that you can access it here and then clean anything out that may have remained in this little container. Now, there's a lot going on in the inside here. So your robot comes in here, it's going to be hot water washed, hot water or hot air dried, which means you're not going to have smelly floors. You can see how the actual liquid will come in and out, and also take the dust. So I like the way how all this is put together. And then you have this area here that, as it's cleaning, is also going to be siphoned away because you'll get some debris here as well. All right, so now let's talk about this test that we're going to put the robot through. And we're going to be testing out the DEEBOT X9 Pro Omni, and my obstacle course contains a couple things. First of all, each one of those little spots is 3D printed poop. So we want to see if it's going to recognize the poop and it's going to avoid the poop. That's going to be important. The other thing that we did is we have a cord there. So let's see how well it does when it comes to charging cords. And then we have some cups just to see how it navigates around it. This is kind of more of the obstacles that I deal with in my home. Poop detection is important to me because I have 3 little dogs, sometimes 4 when we're babysitting our other dog. But we're going to see how well it does here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the robot come in this area to actually start cleaning. And it's going to go ahead and fill itself up with fluid because it needs to do that. And then it's going to come in this direction. And I can even hear the robot from all the way over here saying that it's starting to load itself. Now, while we wait for the robot to make its way here, a couple things we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking a look at the app. And in the app, you can see that the robot has already started functioning. You can see this on the side here. I'll go ahead and highlight that. So this is where the robot is, and it's about to come out real soon. Now, the other thing that you'll notice is on the app that you do have several areas on the app that have different colors, right? So as the robot is working, it's going to identify floors, what is hardwood versus what is tile, and it's going to continue to improve itself as it's going through. Matter of fact, that yellow is actually the color of the floor because it's actually a wood floor. But I'd expect that the planks are going to change once I run this more times. Now, I created a custom zone, and that custom zone is the area that you see there that it's going to come and clean. So the robot should come from there all the way over here to start cleaning. Let's see how well that does in a couple seconds. Now, by the way, when you look at each one of those rooms, all of those rooms can be configured to be called different names, which I actually do. I have an area in the front that I call my walkway, and you can see that you can actually rotate this, turn this around. You can also then even see this in a 3D view if you wanted to. So a lot of flexibility when it comes to the app, when it comes to the mapping process. All right, so now we see the robot actually beginning its way towards the obstacle course. And you can see it's going to come and pass the threshold. And now it should begin its cleaning. So far, let's see how it does identifying the poop. And it did not identify the poop. So that is fail number one. Now keep in mind that the firmware for this robot is not the most, I would say, production, since this is an early review. So I expect that there's going to be improvements in the robot. A couple of things that you'll notice is that it is extending and getting both the roller and its whiskers to the corners of the baseboards, which is really nice. Notice how nicely it's making its way around the cup. So it did that one really well. And it's also lifting up the material off the floor too. So I put some cereal there on the floor just for it to pick that up. So it's going to continue to work that corner. And again, you can see how it extends the roller out to try to get to the corner. That roller, again, is being, not just is it moist and cleaning the floor, as you can see, but it's also being washed as it goes back inside or as it rotates. So let's see if it saw that poop. Nope, it didn't detect that one. So I would say probably the software at this time is not optimized for pet poop detection. I've had other ECOVAC robots that have done really, really well when it comes to pet poop detection. And I would expect that this one would as well once we get more final software. So we're going to come over here and continue to see how well it does in this current state with the other obstacles. We're going to look for cord detection as well as the other cups that are there as it's going through. We'll take a look at as it gets to this corner from the top up so you can see what or how that actual edge cleaning actually works. You can see the edge right there, and you can see how far that whisker is coming out. And then what you'll see is also then how well that roller comes out in a second. So you can see the roller right there coming out. And then we're going to try to see is how it does. So look how close it's getting on the corner there. See how tight that is? That's what you're looking for. And notice how it goes back in. So it detected the cup, which is good. Sometimes what ends up happening is the whisker will move the cup or the little extender in the back. And it's tapping it, but I still give it a pass. I think it's doing pretty good. And notice how far it came in. It also retracted it a bit, which is pretty smart. Excellent. Let's see how far it goes over there. It's not supposed to go too far based on the zone I defined, but you could see that on the screen as well as the robot is going through. So it's going to come back. There was some poop there. Let's see if it detected that one. Nope. So it's actually dragging it with it. And if this was real poop, that's where we would have a problem in the real poop test, because if you get poop on the whiskers, you get poop on the roller, ooh, as you would say, no bueno. That would be no bueno for sure. Let's go back over here. We're going to remove, we already know the poop test is not a pass, but the poop test is a fail. I'll give them feedback on that and see how they improve that, because I know it does work with other robots in their line. You can see what's going on here. Doing really well, picking everything else up. Also, what I like about this robot is it's relatively quiet. As it's laying down, it's liquid. It's not overly wetting the floor, which is configurable in the app, which means it's going to dry very fast. We typically want our robots once a week, maybe multiple times a week, depending on how many people come through our front door. This is my walkway, and I actually have this defined as a zone so that the robot can come and clean the walkway. So here at the cord, it's navigating around it, but the cord did get caught somewhat. So notice how this is where it's now having a problem because it's dragging the cord with it. So again, this is where the firmware optimization, when it sees the cord, should know enough to avoid it, but it hasn't. So I give this a 75 out of 100 when it comes to cord detection, because it did detect the cord. It just missed it as it got cut to the whisker as it was cleaning. So let's take a look at how it's doing with the cereal that we had here. So you notice here, almost all the cereal is gone. So you can see how it just goes over it right there. And whatever it goes over, it's gone. So look at that. And yeah, the suction on this is not going to be a problem to clean things. And remember, if you have a carpet floor or a carpet and tile like I have, it's going to be able to handle both. And notice cup detection, up, it actually crashed into that one. That's the first cup failure. So it detected all cups except that one right there. Interesting. You can see again that extended roller coming out. Seems to see it for all intents and purposes. And it's going to continue its cleaning.
So guys, that wraps up our video. See you in the next one.